Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I demonstrate Stampin' Up! Products. Today I'm going to show you this 3-tier card. Now this will fold up and be put in a standard A2 size envelope. So it's very cool, actually surprisingly easy to make and a great impact. So I like making it in landscape so that I could display it on a, wherever I want it, on a desk or whatever. And you get to also, of course, condense it. Now for the back, I have an area here for writing a little personal note. So I think this is a great card, and I will begin by showing you how to do the scoring. So I like doing templates, and I have one here. So the base is 4 1/4 by 11, and you're going to score 2 1/2, 3 3/4, 6 3/4, and 8 1/4. So when I turn this is where you want to start, the 2 3/4 to start building, and when you're burnishing and so forth. So I will bring in my trimmer for some scoring, and my base is gray granite for this particular card. But of course you can adapt this, and the stamp set, the main stamp set is Trees for Sale, but I also brought in Begin with a Dream. So again, I'm going to line up here at 2 1/2. So let me get this in view so you can fully see it, and I will extend my arm. So 2 1/2, score, oh wait, I got that a little off. 2 1/2, 3 3/4, 6 3/4. So bring it up there, and finally 8 1/4, 8 1/4. So what I have is this. Now scoring is really, really important here with this card. So be sure to burnish both directions. So at first, I don't even pay attention to the way I'm supposed to have this burnished, but I want to burnish it 2 directions to help break down the paper fibers and ensure that it will lay nicely. So another thing to pay attention is make sure you scored that properly. If it's a little off, you can fix it at this point. So all right, so remember what I said about turning it. So right now I have it turned. So when I turn this, I want to start with the 2 3/4 side. So 2 3/4. So that one will be a mountain fold, and then a valley, and then mountain, and then finally valley. And so it condenses up just like that. So super simple. And now we can start building the layers. So I have already pre-done a lot of things because there are a lot of parts with this. So these pieces are 4 by 4 inches, the mats. And then you will need DSP, or I mean, you could choose not to, obviously. So here are my DSP pieces. So I was going to see if where it lines up. No, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so I got these DSP pieces, and they will mat onto here. So I will go ahead and quickly do that, and then we can start building. So obviously there are 2 sides to this beautiful DSP, and this DSP is from the design A Daydream, and it's a hostess pack. So you get 4 sheets of each design. Really a great deal. So anyhow, now I will start building, and this time with this card I'm doing this design. With my original I had this background, so we're going to just see how that looks in comparison. So the section we are going to begin is right here, and because there's an overlap, see how it will overlap, but you do not want glue on this little part here. So this little part is the 1 1/2 inches, and I but there is a border, so make sure you don't get all the way up here when you're gluing. So, but you can go pretty much to the end here. So I always go easy on the glue. Don't go crazy on glue. It will make a big mess and you will not like it. So I'm just going to set this here and I'm centering it right there. So it looks like it's centered, but as you can see, you have this area where it's free floating. And you definitely want that. So I will go ahead and continue to build my pieces. So I'm just going to add this one, and it's exactly the same idea. Don't get all the way up here. You can come pretty close to the end, although you don't want that oozing either. So I'm just adding a little strength there in the center so nothing comes loose, and then I just place it right there. So the last piece is here, and when this is condensed, you don't even see this. And I think that's kind of cool. It's like a hidden message, your final punch, if you will. So I just am going to add that real quick. And now we have the base built. So then it's just a matter of stamping and having your pieces to adhere. So we will be doing a little bit of stamping and coloring. Today, because I wanted some really dark colors, I did use the Gina K Premium Dye Ink. This one is Black Onyx, and I only have a little spot here, which is pretty ideal actually. I don't mind that. So I'll do this, speed this part up, and you can just see what an impact it has. So make sure you ink this really well. All right, so here we have the little adorable camper. And what I'm going to do next is adhere this to it. And when you die cut it out, the die cuts two pieces out at the same time. So here's the die, which is very convenient. And then I backed it with the adhesive sheets, but it would like come apart. So I actually put a little piece of Scotch tape on there, just so I can keep it together without it immediately coming apart. And there are even more pieces because this card has a ton of pieces. So how this works is this piece will be for the lower part of the camper. I'm just taking off the backing here. And I do suggest adding just a few drops of glue just to make sure it doesn't come loose. Those adhesive sheets are somewhat repositionable, which is sometimes nice, but it could sometimes fall apart too later on down the road, which we definitely do not want to have. And as you saw, I colored this first, which you definitely want to do. And if you go up too far, it's really not going to matter because it will be covered. So, and I colored this part with the gray granite. You could, I did the light gray granite. If you think that's too light, you could go darker, the darker gray granite. Of course, I'm definitely repeating the same colors with this card, and gray granite is my base color. So that's why I went with that one. It's a little lighter too than the smoky slate, which would be my other choice. Okay, so now we have built the camper. Isn't that just adorable? When I Googled I Googled what campers, not old, but vintage campers. And this is one of the colors that came up with this kind of tomato red, this is sweet sorbet. And then I thought I wanted to make it look like there was activity going on. So I backed it with the So Saffron. All right, so the final thing to decorate this will be this little banner thing, or whatever these are called. Now, if you're concerned about this coming loose, add a couple drops of glue here and there, but be very, very careful, because if you get glue and it spreads with copper, it's very bad. It dulls it. So one of the things you can do is, as you can see, I got a little too much. I'm just going to take a scrap and kiss it against it just to make sure any excess is off. So I think this camper thing is so cute. And there are different ways to hang this. I kind of did my own thing. I've seen a lot of different things online and how you can hang it. So just do it whatever way you want. And it's just like that. Okay, so the other coloring I need to do is the butterfly. And this butterfly is stamped from the Cheerful basket set. There are a lot of butterflies in different sets, and I just borrowed it from that. And the thanks is from Mischievous Mouse, which was a hostess set from the previous catalog, or the spring one. So just quickly coloring this, nothing too fancy. I'm just blending a little from the dark, so it just adds a little bit of a highlight there. Okay, so we're gonna bring the base back in, and I will speed this next part up, but basically we're just going to be building, and then I'll talk a little bit at the end. So sit back and watch. So when you go to attach these, you need to be closing it. That way it doesn't interfere. So I'm just adding this. Actually, I'll just do it more like that. And then our tree here. So you want this to flow freely. And now I'll continue building. So this one I did not pop up, but I just kept it flat because there is quite a bit of bulk with this card. So, and you can see I sponged the edges here. So I'm just centering it here to here. And then I fussy cut out a heart. And this is part of that Begin with the what is it called? Begin with the Dream set, and it's a hostess set. So then I just put this little offset, and we just about have this card complete, except for the trees here, which I will add. I've done these ahead of time, but I did show how I layered those. So we're gonna bring in the trees for sale. Now I just kind of tucked this in. You could arrange these any way you want, but I do suggest try to have them kind of close to each other. That way it doesn't look like everything is just kind of freestanding. And I kind of like this paper with this. I thought I wouldn't like it nearly as well. I like the other side, but this one is definitely cool and a little different look. It looks a little actually summerier, more summery. And I was trying to get away from the Christmas look and show, you know, you can make the set into less Christmas and more everyday. This is like a really nice thank you card, or it could be even a thinking of you, or here I'm just gonna try to copy what I had a little bit, but actually maybe I will overlap this a little bit like that. It's not quite working the way I wanted. Okay, there. Yeah, things are getting set. All right, so just arrange it the way you feel. And there we have it in the other, it just looks quite different actually. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any stamping needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com, and I'm happy to help you place an order with the host code. And now, I almost forgot this, we're gonna add a little piece for adding a message in the back. And I like doing this one in the center. So if you find that the DSP is a little big, just take your scissors and trim it down. So I have some snips. And you will have, see, I kind of, when I trimmed it, it wasn't completely dry and I pulled it up a little. Okay, I'm being a perfectionist. Okay, so again, I like to have it in the center in the back. You could potentially do it over here, but I like this location for it. And you can write a little personal note there. And this scrap was left over from when I cut a bunch of these out, so I'm using that. I like to do that. It dresses up the place where you write a note. Okay, so here is the one we just did, and here is the original. Let me make sure I didn't forget to do something. There's a lot of pieces with this card. Wow. So as you can see, they condense up, and then here, I'll back out a little so you can see this a little better. And then you can pull them flat. So that is my card for today, my fun fold. I love fun folds. This is the 3-tier fun fold, and I'm using the stamp sets Trees for Sale, Begin with the Dream, Cheerful Basket for the butterfly, and the dies are stylish shapes. So that would be here in the circle. So thank you again for watching, and happy stamping.